Hey everybody, it is Daniel Glass. I want to welcome you back to our ongoing conversation all about groove. In this video, I'm going to share the blueprint for the motion-based system of drumming. I have spent more than a decade developing this system, and I'm going to walk you through the exact steps that have helped my students elevate their groove to new levels they did not think possible. So please make sure you watch all the way to the end of the video. Now, in the first 3 videos of this series, I introduced you to the motion-based system, and I shared why a system based on motions actually makes a lot more sense than one based on patterns, especially when it comes to learning grooves. We broke things down and looked at the key elements that make up a successful groove, and I introduced you to the concept of it's all about the up, a game changer that is designed to completely alter your way of thinking about groove. I also shared a very unusual exercise that allows you to implement the all about the up concept to get instant results. And I want to know, how is your experience working with this exercise? Please feel free to contact me, send me an email, let me know how it went. So if you haven't watched the first 3 videos in the series yet, then make sure you do that right now, because literally they're filled with tons of gold nuggets and practical information that will open up your mind to the incredible potential that you have to develop what I call the golden groove. Now, even with all the information I shared in the earlier videos, I really want to convince you that if your goal is to develop a deep, relaxed, and balanced groove, that the motion-based system is a much more practical strategy than a pattern-based system. So in this video, I'm going to share the blueprint of the motion-based system by laying out 6 specific differences between these 2 systems of learning. Difference number 1. Rather than focusing on a wide variety of patterns, styles, grooves, fills, solos, etc., the motion-based system is made up of a focused, step-by-step series of exercises. Each exercise is built entirely on the ones that came before it, and it is always clear what your task is and why you're learning it. Rather than working on random stuff that may or may not serve any purpose in the big picture, you're building a strong foundation right from the beginning, and the entire purpose of this foundation is to create powerful, immediate, cellular level change in the way you play. By putting the focus on how you're moving rather than what you're playing, you'll develop a systematic approach that will apply to everything you do as a drummer. You'll become better at what you already play, and learning new material will be easier because you'll have a game plan. Think of that old proverb that goes, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you'll feed him for a lifetime. Well, our version of the proverb goes like this. Teach a person a groove and you give him or her some stuff. Teach a person to groove and you give him or her a lifetime skill. Think about that for a minute. Difference number 2. Rather than focusing on ever-increasing complexity, the motion-based system is all about simplicity. Many of the exercises I teach are so basic that they don't even involve sticks or pedals. By starting without these tools of the trade, we can put all our focus on the motions. Once we learn how these motions should feel within our body, we can adapt them into our muscle memory. And then, when we do pick up the sticks or we get back on the pedals, that feeling will be maintained. And that's the important part here, the feeling. Now, even though I'm using terms like simple and basic to describe these exercises, it does not mean that they will automatically be easy for you to master. This material is so outside the box for most drummers that I guarantee it will challenge you in new and very unexpected ways, whether you're a total beginner or a lifelong veteran. Yes, I guarantee it. Difference number 3. Instead of focusing on speed as the desired outcome, the motion-based system slows things down, and I mean way down. So slow, in fact, that at the beginning of the process, many of the motions we cover won't seem like drumming at all. Now, this approach sometimes confuses students because most of them would prefer to learn how to play fast, not slow. But I always respond, if you really want to play fast, then playing slow absolutely has to be the first step, and here's why. Number 1, the only way to really achieve speed is to stay relaxed while you're doing it. Playing exercises that are slow and seemingly unrelated to drumming allows us to override the tension that has always seemed to be baked into our muscle memory. Once we understand what it means to feel relaxed, then we have a chance to maintain that state as we bring the tempo back up. Second, playing slowly also allows us to understand the space between notes much more accurately. Once we can truly feel that space, our drumming will have a greater clarity once we start to increase the tempo. Finally, playing slowly helps us to strengthen our internal clock. The more that we can relax and command the space between the notes, the more we can lock into a particular tempo and stay there. Difference number 4. Instead of focusing on the downward force, the motion-based system focuses on the up. I covered this concept of It's All About the Up in great detail in the previous video, so make sure you go back and check that out if you haven't already done so. But here's the upshot, get it? Ha ha. When you switch your focus from the down to the up, you can start to take advantage of extremely consistent elements that already exist in nature, like the force of gravity and the weight of your limbs, and you can harness these elements to do the work for you. When you allow the perfect force of gravity and the perfectly consistent weight of your limbs to be in charge of the down, your strokes will always fall consistently and naturally. In essence, you'll be accessing a perfect, natural, deep pocket. And by not forcing yourself to play the down half of each motion, you'll be using much less energy. This all about the up principle really makes sense for learning any aspect of drumming. I'm talking about foot development, rudiments, fills, etc. It's a huge game changer. It has worked wonders with my students, and it will work for you too. Difference number 5. Instead of focusing on independence, the motion-based system focuses on interdependence. Now, this is another concept that's a bedrock of this system of drumming. And again, I don't know why, it's rarely discussed by the majority of drum teachers. Now, we all know what independence is, getting each limb to play its own pattern independently of the other limbs. And developing independence is without a doubt important and necessary when learning the drums. But when it comes to creating a killer groove, independence is not enough. The principle of interdependence focuses on getting the body to move in sync with itself, to align the limbs so that they consistently come down together at the exact same spot in the beat, perfectly, effortlessly, every single time. Difference number 6. While most drum instruction usually doesn't offer much guidance for how to practice, the motion-based system uses a highly focused strategy known as deliberate practice. Deliberate practice works around the idea of taking a single idea and practicing it until it becomes effortless. In this manner, we create a solid foundation, adding one idea to the next, piece by piece. And because you're practicing motions as opposed to patterns, the end result is that your playing will evolve rapidly and organically. You will improve at what you already do without having to try to make it happen. Best of all, the motion-based system is designed to be taught online. You may not know this, but since 2011, about 90% of my teaching practice has been conducted online. That's a lot longer than most other teachers have been working in this space. Through years of trial and error, I have created a repertoire of exercises that can be learned just as effectively whether a student and I are in the same room or not. These exercises have been time-tested over and over with literally hundreds of students from all over the world, so I know they're going to work for you too. If the motion-based system sounds interesting to you, my upcoming course, Finding Your Golden Groove, will be covering all of the elements that I've described in this video, plus many, many others. Rather than focusing on complex patterns, we'll use motions to help you rethink the way you approach drumming and to show you a pathway for developing new levels of comfort and control. We're going to do this by using a groove that every drummer already knows how to play, the basic rock beat that you learned the very first time you sat down at a drum set. Using the motion-based system, we will completely redesign and reimagine this basic groove, with the goal to get you to feel some profound shifts in your playing. As with any system of learning, the more you practice this material, the faster that these shifts will start to happen for you. Finding Your Golden Groove also incorporates a suite of unique practice tools that will provide tremendous support as you work through the material. These tools include extensive play-alongs for every unit, both with and without commentary from me. So it'll be like I'm in your practice room hollering over your shoulder while you work. Doesn't that sound like fun? You'll also have access to clips of me working on these exact exercises with my own private students. You'll literally be like a fly on the wall, looking over my shoulder as I address the nuances of each exercise in several different one-on-one situations. My students have experienced tremendous progress using this material, and in the 8 short weeks that it takes you to go through Finding Your Golden Groove, I believe that you will too. Again, enrollment will be limited, so if you want to be guaranteed a spot in this course, make sure you click the link in the description and add your name on the early bird list. In the next video, we're going to put aside all the conceptual stuff and I'll show you what the motion-based system looks like in action. I'll walk you through a detailed case study with one of my students and show you how he was able to use this system to really take control of his drumming technique and boot his career up to the next level. So stay tuned because you won't want to miss this next installment in our conversation all about groove. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.